This is Fred Beck from Fred Talks Fighting, brought to you by Undisputed, available on Xbox and PlayStation. I'm joined today by Mams Taylor over Zoom. Mams, it's been a little bit of time since we last done an interview. How's life treating you?
Listen, it's life's full of ups and downs, Fredericks. You just have to stay positive, stay grateful. There's inevitably going to be bumps on the road. There's going to be hurdles you've got to jump over, and you just never quit. And if you have that mentality and you're optimistic and disciplined and open-minded, I think you'll be okay.
No, it's good. It's a good way to think about it. But the state of Misfits right now, how would you sort of describe it?
I think we're coming back very strong. We've had a very rocky year thus far. Obviously, Tommy Fury pulling out, then KSI getting hurt, getting sick, being on two courses of antibiotics, all of that stuff. None of it helps. And I took so much pride in never canceling the show and always replacing it. But as I've said previously, I did try everything to keep that show on. And now the next best thing that we could do is kind of have a hybrid of the two shows into one. So, I will honor the fighters that were on those two cards and make sure that they have their fights. The majority of them are obviously having their fights on this on Misfits 21 in Derby, but the ones that aren't, I'm going to make sure that they do fight. I always try and do what's right with and do right by everyone I can. Obviously, circumstances beyond our control. KSI has really stepped up as well, and ensured that this card goes ahead, and that we come back strong. We have a very reinvigorated, excited, revamped energy that I think is gonna show. We've got to say if that's our darkest time. Listen, January, even though the Tommy Fury card didn't happen, Tommy Fury fight didn't happen, we kept the card on and we ended up doing the best non-pay-per-view numbers that we've ever done by quite a significant margin. So, you have a couple of problems and then suddenly there's people who are like, oh, influencer boxing is dead or Misfits is dead. And I've heard it before enough times in such a short time that I've even been in this game, that it's not that you don't take mm, opinions with merit seriously. You definitely do. It's a mistake not to. Constructive criticism, I'm always on the lookout for it, and I'll get to that in a second. But um, when it's just a sheep without a profile picture or a hater, someone who's happy to see your demise and downfall, no matter how hard you and other people work and how much it affects thousands of people internally, people who work on this, fighters. There are people with a lot of hate and anger who don't have much going on in their lives, who really project and want bad things for others who are successful. So you don't take those opinions with anything but a pinch of salt. But when there's someone who's like gives you, if I've heard people who I respect their views, and they have constructive criticism and they're like, hey, it's getting too serious. What if we do this? What if we do that? We'll always look at that. And actually, it's led to something called the Secret Council. So we have now formed the Secret Council, which is the other leg of the small council. So the Secret Council is anonymous, but it's a think tank, consisting of a group of people who have a lot of passion and valued opinions on the space. And I think it's for us, it's a testament to show that we actually care what people say. We care what people who are supporting this space and want to see it flourish. We care about their opinions and we want to make them happy. Essentially, Misfits was set up for a variety of reasons. One of them being so that KSI can fight for himself and for his own promotion rather than fighting for another promoter. Secondly, it was set up so that we give opportunities to creators and give a platform and create storylines and fun for the audience to enjoy a product that we felt was a necessity at the time, and it's grown exponentially. Our numbers don't lie. The space has grown, we've grown, but with that, you're going to hear louder criticisms. The bigger you get, the more haters you have, and the more people say things. And not everything is hate. There's definitely valid opinions from certain people who say, "Hey, I think I'd prefer it if it was like this." While you can't accommodate everybody's taste, you can certainly take into account things that make sense and try and make everyone happy. But the ultimate thing is like I think when you're very passionate about a product, it shows. And I think Misfits, if you've been to a Misfits show, which I know you have, but I'm saying, um, if you've been to a Misfits show, the atmosphere is unmatched. It's so fun. It's such a good community. The toxicity just dies in that building, and everyone's just having a good time, smiling, enjoying the energy. And that's something that we're proud that we've created, and we want to continue building that. And it's still early days. We're in our infancy. We're 2.5 years old. Um, Coming up to 3 years pretty soon here, and I think there's so many cool unexplored ideas and so many fighters that we've been speaking to that are yet to make their debut. And I think now that we have some clear lines in terms of the pro boxing and how that's going to have its own shows, and then the influencer and crossover boxing, and the rankings will show who is where and what, so it doesn't put off certain creators who are like influencers, but they're like, oh, I don't want to go to Misfits because their fighters are too good. It's not the case. The fighters are, you know you're not going to be a 135-pound influencer who's fighting cray cray for your first fight. So I want to clarify that for the influencers and for the audience and make sure that we continue to have the fun aspects of influencer boxing, um, as well as for, yeah, a platform for the guys who take it more seriously. So I think we have so many ideas, so many things that, if anything, this has shaken us up and made us all be like, let's do better. Let's not get complacent. Let's make sure that we don't think we're on cruise control, because far from it. We know the potential this space has, and there are people out there who genuinely care and they genuinely are invested, and I don't want to let them down, and I don't want to let any of our staff down. And for me, it's easy to say, you know what, this headache just isn't worth it. Let's just move on. But that's not how we're built, and that's not. We've built a really great company that I think that has still got a lot of unfulfilled potential. So there's a lot to do. I feel the future is very positive. I feel we're putting everything in place that can excite people, and get them going. And if anyone thinks that, listen, KSI is a massively valued asset to Misfits in any capacity. Okay, him being involved, him being an owner of the company and a CEO of the company, who wants to get more and more involved, which he will. That in itself is worth a lot, right? But um, we are not reliant, nor should we be reliant on him fighting to make this a successful company. 2024, KSI had 0 fights, and we were very profitable and we did very well. Um, Obviously, when he fights, it's more profitable because he's a true bona fide pay-per-view star, one of the few on the planet, you know. Um, and you can challenge me on that. There's probably anywhere between 5 to 10 pay-per-view stars who will actually sell pay-per-view, not just on Misfits, on the planet, in the planet. So we have to do a better job of building, but we also have to have the platform to build storylines and and connect more with the audience. And also we can go so far with certain fighters, but the fighters have to do the work to become those stars as well. So I think there are quite a few with a lot of potential, and things need to move a little bit more cohesively with our broadcast partner, and I think they will, and I'm confident they will. And then, together we can really create something amazing. But it's been I think we've done an amazing job to get to where we've gotten to, considering all the stuff that happens behind the scenes. So, I'm proud of that, and I think I'm really excited, and I think that um, we've got a lot of good times ahead.
What's your relationship like with the zone now?
It's good. Look, it's good. Our interests, in my opinion, should be more aligned. Um, and and for example, I I think that it's still, like I say, it's still in its infancy. We've been together for a couple of years. There's been problems that we've overcome together, and I think we'll continue to do that. So I'm very optimistic, and I think all will be good.
What's the difference between the small council and the secret council?
The small council, you all know who the small council are. The secret council are young. They're the epitome and the core of the audience that we have, and they represent the audience really well. So they are essentially truth tellers who I've observed over time that have bring constructive criticism, are not afraid of uh, expressing their views. And sure, everyone has biases, but I haven't noticed any. There's quite a neutral and genuine care for the space from these members. And I think that them being part of the think tank represents the audience views much, much better. So the small council brings in a level of expertise. They've got experience in one capacity or another. They're public figures. I don't have to go over Leon and True Geordie's resume and what they've done, what they've accomplished, and Riley as well. And so I think they have their own place, which is immensely valuable. And they have brought so many great ideas that we've brought to fruition, and their opinions are very, very valid. But we're all, everyone on the small council is a little bit older than our core audience, which 18 to 25 is our number one demographic, and then 13 to 18 is our number two demographic. So these guys represent more of the audience view. And I think that's a very valuable thing to have. So I'm excited about it.
It gives another perspective, which is also great to see.
Yeah.
GFL was cancelled where Dillon Danis was meant to be fighting. How come the KSI versus Dillon Danis fight wasn't rescheduled, like KSI said it?
Um, so when the decision was made not to have the fight, because Dillon Danis was supposed to fight on GFL, that decision was made, and JJ decided to focus, and as he should have been anyway, focus on his hand injury, um, and his hand being repaired. So he's getting. I found a guy. So this is what happened. The last Abs or myself knew of his hand injury. Obviously, we've known about it for a while, but we thought it was all good and healed up. And we thought, because that's what we were told, that he went to see another doctor or a specialist and he was fine. And then while he was sick, and this is like after we've cancelled the fight and trying to rearrange a date, and he was still sick, so we couldn't rearrange a date in time. After that, it was brought to Abs and my attention that his hand is still not in good shape, and he told me, "Look, I can barely throw a right hand right now in sparring," and he's become gun shy with his right hand because of that, and that's his main asset. So immediately when I was told that, I was shocked because I thought he was all good at that point. I thought that was the least of our worries. And this didn't. He was going to soldier on and power through to fight despite the hand injury. So that wasn't brought into it, but it should have been. Once I found that out, Kella, myself, we got two specialists for him and Abs as well. We found two specialists to work on his hand, and he's currently getting immensely painful therapy on that hand to see if he can salvage it without surgery. And we're hopeful that that's the case. But if it's not, then he'll have to have the surgery. So it's it's not something we take lightly. But obviously, when we were in the dark about it for quite a while, and we were all thinking that it's okay and it's healed. But I think he was powering through it and taking certain injections to help his hand heal or to numb it, maybe cortisone. I'm not sure, exactly the specifics, but anti-inflammatory injections. But it's a recurring injury that needs to be dealt with, and I want KSI to be 100% when he's fighting again. So that's something that we need to tend to ASAP, and I think it's a reasonably quick recovery, and you know uh, we're all aligned. Like I always say, for me, all of our team, we know that with Proper Loud, anyone who we work with, mental and physical health is our number one priority. JJ knows this, and no matter what, physical health will affect your mental health. Mental health can affect your physical health. So him not being 100% healthy is not something that we take lightly. So that's our priority with JJ at the moment.
So will
And
KSI?
watch. Uh, Now that JJ's gone public with his injury, you're going to get Jake Paul saying, "Oh, let's fight tomorrow at 4 p.m." When he finds out when he books his surgery. I mean, that's the kind of games we always face with those guys. But anyway,
So will KSI fight again this year?
uh, it's totally up to him. I know he wants to. I know there's big opportunities, big things going on right now, which I can't get into. But listen, he'll fight as soon as he's healthy, and there's never any pressure on him to fight unless he says he wants to fight and wants to do the fight. Then we wait for him. He's the captain of his ship, and we're there to help navigate.
So from the perspective you got now, will KSI be more music focused this year or boxing focused?
I think it personally, I think it will be a blend of the two, but we'll have to wait and see. Like, I can't predict the future. I wish I could. And I would basically say that it's a lot's dependent on his hand. If when his hand is healed, I think he's going to be in that mindset. He loves boxing. He obviously gets a thrill from it. We know he wants the big fights only at this point. And no disrespect to Dillon, no disrespect to Chavez Jr. We wish him all the luck with this fight with Jake. But as you know, we basically I went into final stages of the contract with Chavez, and I think KSI really wants, and it's no disrespect to Chavez because of, the guy's had 60 plus fights. His father's a legend. He's a former champion. I really like him. I've spoken to him. He's a great guy. I have nothing but nice things to say about him. But KSI versus Jake, KSI versus Connor, KSI versus Floyd, those fights are big fights, big fights, and that's the type of level that he's after. He wants the excitement. He wants you guys to be like, holy shit, this is going to be mental, and that's what keeps him going. That's what excites him. He's reminded me. He's like, look, I'm not trying to be a world champ. I want to have the big fights. I don't need to be strategic about having warm ups and this and that anymore. I just want to do the things that make me happy. And being a big game hunter in this world of boxing is what makes him happy. I'm very optimistic, and I think boxing is a part of his legacy, right? And so far, it's been a bumpy road for him, but it's not too late to fix that. It's not too late to make boxing a big part of his legacy in the most victorious and winning way. And look, I'm not downplaying what he has achieved in boxing because he started off very strong, beating Joe Weller, the draw with Logan, then the victory against Logan, um, and then the Tommy Fury fight. The in-betweens, it's been fun. There's been some stuff. He's had some bad luck, as he's mentioned, but we both, JJ and I, want him to have that legacy, to be the guy that beat Jake Paul and knocked him out, to be the guy. Okay, fans are going to be like, oh yeah, you're delusional, whatever, whatever. But of course, that's what we want. That's what we aim to do. That's what excites JJ. The thought of him getting in that ring in a sold out stadium against one of these big names, and that's what's going to excite the fans, where he's the underdog. People are going to think Jake's going to win. People are going to think Mayweather's going to win. Amir Khan's going to win. Whoever it is, right? But that's what excites him, and that's what get his juices flowing. So we have to respect that. If he wanted a boxing career long term for the next 10 years, then yes, I understand. Uh, fighting others
Wayne Bridge.
along the way. You shut your mouth, Fredericks.
Um, Wade did an interview with True Geordie on Wade's
Yeah.
channel about a week ago, and True Geordie is kind of critical of KSI, saying that he should be more involved in Misfits boxing, even when he's not fighting, kind of trying to promote it, trying to push it more, be involved behind the scenes. Because at the end of the day, if he wants to sell Misfits at the end of the day, or if he just wants to keep on making money from it, it's still his company, it's still his baby. What do you think of True
Uh,
Geordie's comments there?
I, I think that he's right, but I also can say 100% that KSI has spoken to me about how he wants to be more involved. So Misfits is back on schedule, our meetings, the creatives. He's told me to send him every Zoom link for everything, and he'll decide which ones. And I'll tell him, look, this one's important. This one's about merch. You might not want to join this. You know what I mean? But he wants to have a more hands-on approach. And he's going to be at 21, and he's definitely very excited about some of the future plans that only he's privy to. Um, there's a lot going on, and a lot of good things on the horizon, and I think it's got a bright future. But yeah, he wants to be a lot more hands-on, and and I welcome that more than anything. I love when KSI is involved and creative with it, and I think previously he's just got a lot going on, so he knows that he has to prioritize with this to some degree, while not sacrificing the other things that also make him happy. You know?
There's another boxing promotion that started up very recently. It's Adin Ross Brand Risk Promotions. Your thoughts on Adin starting his own boxing company? Do you see him
Uh,
as a contender in the future?
I don't know. I think they do things differently. Um, I definitely think that I welcome it. I think that Aiden has been very respectful. I've been very respectful of him. There's a mutual respect there. But to be honest with you, uh, whilst we've been dealing with what we've been dealing with, it's been a refreshing thing to have influencer boxing or some form of influencer boxing still be present. And so I'm very happy that he's doing what he's doing, and inevitably, if they keep growing and it makes sense, then it'd be great to do a Misfits versus Brand Risk card as well in the future. So whenever that makes sense, cool. But yeah, it's all love and respect. As you know, that I've been very I've been very supportive, made sure our fighters can fight on brand risk. And I put some names forward to Jordan. I'm like, hey, I would love to keep this guy active, help you guys out, help them out. So everybody wins. I mean, look, the thought of competition having to be about backstabbing and and screwing each other over, it's a myth, you know. I think there's enough room for everyone to benefit and everyone to keep going. And I love that idea. I love that they offer something that's completely different in terms of the product, but it still has, excitement and it's a different format. It's a different the vibe is very different, and some people will prefer that, and some people will watch both, and some people will, it is what it is. But yeah, man, I'm excited that they're a part of this space.
Is there anything you see that Brand Risk Boxing Motions does that you could incorporate into Misfits?
Um, I don't know if having KSI's face while he's commentating the whole time over the boxing matches would work for us. It works for Adin because, to be honest, a lot of his followers, they're watching it for him and they're watching it for his collaborations, having Andrew Tate there, having what I mean. People are excited, so you have that panel of commentators visible to you all the time. It's just very different from what we do. So I don't know, but I'm sure they'll borrow ideas off us, and we'll borrow ideas off them, and inspire each other to do better and better. So yeah, man, I like it. I enjoy it, and I'm glad that there's the more boxing, the more combat sports shows there are that are well executed, the better it is for all of us, honestly.
Well, the Misfits 21 card is on the 16th of May, and Aiden Ross is a Brand Risk show on the same day as well. So we'll kind of see which one does better. Exciting times. It looks pretty good.
Well, I mean, we've our last show had enormous amount of concurrent viewers, enormous, in comparison to any other product out there. I think it's way ahead of almost everything. I don't think it's a competition in numbers. We're not trying to take away from what their audience is doing and enjoying. And hopefully, I think there are a good amount of subset audience members who enjoy both, and there are some who just follow Aiden and Brand Risk, and there are some who just follow Misfits. And at the end of the day, we are the home of crossover boxing, and I think we're going to continue to cultivate and grow. And yeah, we welcome. Listen, if Kingpin made a comeback, it would be fantastic. It does, we want the space to keep growing. We want people to be interested. Um, I don't operate out of fear. I operate out of sounds corny, but out of love, out of passion, out of wanting to do great things. So at the end of the day, it's there was someone who there was an idea that came to us, and we didn't act on it, and someone else acted on it, and it blew up into something massive. I'm never resentful about things like that because it wasn't meant for me. It wasn't meant for us. It
And you
was
can't
meant
say
for the
what the idea was.
no, but it's really cool, and I think it's going to do very well. But I hope it does very well. You know, if there's an artist that we pass on at Proper Loud and they end up blowing up and they're like, see, I told you you should have signed me. We're like, no, we're so glad that you've blown up. That's the attitude to have. If you're a truly successful, confident person, you never want other people to fail. You know, you don't want other people to fail. Yes, there's a rivalry between KSI and Jake, and there's a rivalry between Misfits and MVP. But in the confines of that rivalry, yeah, it's great for both promotions to be at each other's throat. It's great for KSI and Jake to have the hype. Even people, I'm sick of hearing about this. You're not. You're sick of hearing about it, but you know that it's probably going to happen someday and you'll be watching when it does. And this is all part of a build-up. It's not set up, it's very authentic. But outside of that, do KSI or myself ever wish any harm to come to people in their personal lives? Absolutely not. Do they wish that on us? I don't believe they do. So it's within the ring. Yes, I want KSI to knock Jake out. I want to look at Nikisa and go, ha ha, when that happens. And he'll want to do that to me in his professional way. And whatever it is, but that rivalry is cool. It's great for the space. Outside of that, personal feelings, even people who have wronged me or I dislike, I don't, or I might not enjoy spending time with, I don't wish harm on them. You've got to wish everybody the best. And I think that way you attract, and it's not a strategy, it's a genuine, authentic feeling. But I think if you have that philosophy, you generally enjoy life a lot more, you know? Um, so that's where it took me a while to come to terms with how much hatred there is online towards not just us, towards everything. You know, it's so easy to say something negative, and people say that and they just don't understand the ramifications and the implications on you spiritually, the toll it takes for you to bring hatred out. Making fun and joking and having a meme here and that and making a Leslie Gomez fat joke or something. These are fun things because it's done with love, it's done with a light heart, it's done just to get a reaction of like and build a rivalry. But there are really hateful, spiteful people out there saying things to each other, politically racist stuff, very divisive stuff. I'm like, this is crazy. And I'll tell you what, Fred, I wish Elon would do something where you can have a free account on Twitter and have an egg as your picture if you want, but you can't comment. The moment you write a tweet out, before you do that, you have to have a verification process. So everyone knows what you look like, who you are, basically. And then you'd see a massive reduction in this very openly racist and crazy stuff that people say to each other. I'm sure you would, because then you have some implications. Oh, this guy, he goes to this school and he's just said this really terribly racist thing or threatened to kill someone or whatever it is. Then there's ramifications. The anonymity is what makes people feel safe on that talk, and it breeds toxicity. I think that's my one gripe with X, and I love X. Big fan of what Elon's done and trying to do. Um, but it's mad that people are just they can just have an anonymity on these accounts. Have anonymity to view, but not to express opinions and to be a part of the chat. Then you have to show your face. Say things that you believe with your chest out. Then it's a different story, you know?
Just sort of holding people accountable for what they're saying. It's an interesting. You never know. It might get clipped up on Twitter, this, then Elon might retweet it. Let's talk about a few things though before I let you go. Jake Paul versus Chavez. Your thoughts on this matchup?
Um, Look, I think you can't deny that Chavez has achieved a lot. It comes from an amazing boxing royalty. His father is one of the greatest of all time. Um, we all know the obvious advantages Jake has. I don't need to reiterate that and everything. But it's a fight we were very heavily considering. And then basically, like I addressed earlier, it's not a big enough fight for KSI to be turned on by at this point. Having gone through what we've gone through and realizing what we realize, he just wants the massive mega fights. So for Jake, I think it makes sense. I think him against Tommy Fury would have made more sense to try and redeem that loss. I think there are it just depends, man. I think it's bridging the gap between it's a filler for him, keeps people going. I don't know how well it'll perform, but I wish them the best. And I think Chavez, if Chavez is switched on, he can be a threat to any boxer, but I think he was at his best, considerably lighter weight than this. And he's gone through a lot. It'll be interesting to see. Be interesting to see.
No, certainly happening in June indeed. Will Misfits Boxing have an event in June?
TBC, working on a few dates with our partners, DAZN, and just waiting to see the rest of our calendar for the year. And we've got some exciting fights lined up right now that I can't wait. New demographics, new audiences, and a lot of excitement, a lot of big personalities.
Speaking of demographics and audiences, right now it seems that you're kind of mixing them up a little bit of having the pro fighters on the influence boxing shows and vice versa. When are we going to get to the stage where we just have Misfits Pro and then I guess the crossover boxing cards? When we get to the stage where you have the separate
Very
card?
soon, very soon. That's what we've been working on. So I think that's essential. I think it's important that we've sprinkled them on. And it doesn't mean that when we do, we've got this idea to do an annual super card, like our version of a WrestleMania, which I'll share title with you later. We're going through some names, but an annual version of that where you get, let's say MMA is up and running, we get a couple of MMA fights, the super fights. We've got a couple of crossover, high level crossover boxing fights, a couple of really fun influencer fights, and a couple of pro fights. So that will be like all of the products in one under one roof in one night. That would be the plan. But then aside from that, there would be a separation between the pros and the crossover and influencer.
So Mrs. own WrestleMania. And where's the Royal Rumble?
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Okay. Did you see the Taylor Holder versus Bryce Hall spar?
Did I see it?
Have you been sent footage? Have you heard anything? Everyone's kept their mouths very tightly shut.
No, they are. They are. I can't get anything out of anyone other than a mutual respect. It went well, whatever that means. It went well for who? Probably both of them got their licks in, and they settled it like men. I can't hate on it. I certainly called them before this and said, guys, like, there's money here, you know? Are you sure you want to leave this money off the table? Um, and they said, yeah, and I respect it, but I think we're going to see uh, a resurgence of excitement over the tag team ranks, and Bryce and Holder will make a very nice addition.
Taylor Holder and Bryce Hall on a tag team. That could be pretty.
Yeah.
That could be good indeed. A little hint there for something in the future. What's going on with HS TikkyTokky? Any news on him? I know he's been wanting to fight this guy called Danny G off TikTok for a while. Is this anything that would happen on Misfits? Maybe on
Uh,
the future Island
Listen,
card?
when HS sorts out his issues, you guys know how big I am on HS's future. He just needs to sort himself out and be serious about it, and then he can make tens of millions from this space. I guarantee it. He just needs to focus and be about it, be about his business, be a bit serious about it, and the guy can do crazy numbers, 100%. I back that horse all day long, but the horse has to come out of the gate, Fredericks. He's stuck in his barn right now, and he needs to come out.
I know, it must be pretty frustrating for you. What countries will Misfits be going to this year? Will there be another Qatar card? Will there be one in a Europe card? Be another USA card? What's going on with the countries this year? What's the plan?
I can't divulge much, but there's a few options being worked on currently.
Will there be any countries that Misfits go to this year that they haven't been to before?
I believe so.
Misfits Russia? Why are you so quiet for?
I told you I'm not going to tell you. What do you want me to say? You
Right, okay,
keep
okay.
pressing me.
And one last thing, Misfits 21. Misfits finally returning after a few months layoff. How excited are you for the card? Is there a lot of pressure for you guys to deliver a banger of a card for the big comeback?
No, I think we're past the pressure. We've delivered an amazing card. What happens on the night, we will do our best to ensure that it's safe, it's fun, and it's an enjoyable experience for the audience at home and the audience attending live. Um, I'm sure it's going to be a sold out show that's going to have an insane atmosphere. The fights, I think this is one of our most exciting fight cards yet. Definitely the most stacked non pay-per-view. It's got a lot of value. It hits all different areas. So yeah, man, I couldn't be more excited. We had to come back with a bang. We had to come back with a bang from the absence. And and we really want to deliver, and we really want to make sure that people get to enjoy um, what Misfits is all about.
Will there be any surprises on the night? Anything that people aren't expecting, which will happen? Anything else added?
Well, you'll have to wait and see. They wouldn't be surprises if I divulged, Fredericks.
I was scrolling through TikTok today and I saw Bouncer is claiming a few things about Misfits Boxing, sort of saying it's his idea to do influence boxing, and you at KSI came along and stole the idea. Your thoughts on his comments?
Look, Bouncer and I have had a very respectful relationship since 2023, which was the first time we spoke. I was unaware Wicked and Bad existed. Look, I live on a farm in America. I did. I can't remember when Arms versus Bouncer happened. I didn't know the brand was Wicked and Bad or anything. I don't know if Misfits had a show already, but certainly this has been in the works for a long time. Ever since KSI Logan happened, pretty shortly after that, part two, I mean, pretty shortly after that, I was like, JJ, we should do this ourselves, and this is why. And he's like, yeah, it'll be sick. We can give lots of creators. He's always thinking of others, and he's like, we should give other creators a platform to basically box each other, to advance whatever else they've got going on, and so on and so forth. So I can, with 100% honesty and transparency, say that we were not at all influenced by Wicked and Bad in any way, shape, or form. KSI started this thing with Joe Weller with Theo Baker before that. All the credit to those guys. Um, and we saw influencer cards. I didn't know Wicked and Bad existed, not dissing them. I think a guy called Aggie said, "Oh, I've fought on this Wicked and Bad," and this was after Misfits had already started. So then I became aware that it's actually a brand that they put fights on, and I think they're fun. They're really fun cards. Again, I just had no idea. It's like I think he said something like he started an energy drink and we started Prime Energy. Obviously, it's not influenced by that. It's like at all. I can honestly say that it's got zero to do with anything that we've done. And again, I'm not putting down what they do. And then to say like KSI, it's not fair. He's one of the big boys. He can do this deal with a big platform and this and that. KSI's worked for many, many years to get that platform. He didn't start on day one and just someone said, "Hey, here's a big platform." He's worked his ass off to get to where he's gotten to. So most people, with a very few exceptions, most people who have opportunities to do big things have worked their asses off to get those opportunities. That can't be discredited just because you think it's easy to make content. It's fucking hard to make content. It's not easy to make content that keeps millions and millions of people entertained over a stretch as long as KSI has been involved in the influencer game. Just give him his respect and his credit, and that's it. We have no. I just got a text. Sorry. we have we have
Who
no
was your text from?
fighter manager saying, "Will you be calling me back, brother?" But I was supposed to call him back on Thursday. We encourage Wicked and Bad to do amazing things. I hope his energy drink does better than Wade's energy drink did. I hope all of it like works out for everyone. I hope Wade's energy drink takes off too. I really do. I don't want anyone to fail in their own life. I don't wish that on anyone. But to assume that Misfits has copied anything that those guys did is completely false. So that's all.
No, that's fair enough indeed. Just one last thing. How much of a cunt is Max from Wasserman?
I think he can be a total cunt once in a while, but he's very capable of doing a fantastic job at things he's good at, the operations side. He's just not a people person.
Oh, okay, okay. So was it him who put the poster out about the Misfits fighters without saying
Yes,
any of the fighters, indeed?
I, I was not happy about that at all.
Does Max still have a job?
He does, yes, just about.
Just about, just about, just about. All right. Well, Mamas, thank you very much for your time as always. I do appreciate it. I'll see you in Derby in a few weeks' time. Anything else come up for you in the next few weeks?
Derby, Misfits 21, we are back. Blinders and Brawls. Guys, this card is going to be the most action packed card we have ever had. As long as the fighters turn up and do the things they're supposed to do. I put these matches together for a reason because We need exciting fights. And I really think from top to bottom, they're exciting. Each fight brings something to the table. Survivor tag with a new rule set based on your criticisms, your constructive criticisms about Survivor tag the first time round. Now the improvements implemented. That's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to see star-making performances here. We've got Darren Till versus Darren Stewart. Darren Stewart is no easy feat. This is going to be a nice test for Darren Till. This guy's proven he's a star. He's brought us the biggest non-pay-per-view numbers we've had thus far. This guy is a pay-per-view star. Let's see if he can overcome these odds against Darren the Dentist Stewart and come out unscathed with no fillings, Fredericks. I think I think we've got some really big plans for him. Ty Mitchell, Idris Virgo, what a banger of a fight. I'm really, really excited about this fight. Idris's biggest challenge. Darren uh, Darren Stewart is coming over to your house. If you roll your eyes at me one more time, he's coming to drill your teeth, Fredericks,
I've
and
not rolled my eyes once.
give you cavities. Um, but yeah, Ty Mitchell Idris, what a banger. Fox versus Waleed. I mean, come on. These fights on this card are bangers. We wish Julie Poker could have fought. I can't wait to have her on again. I'm big on Julie and her future in the company. She's got a big test with Aria Wild. And yeah, we've got a lot of fun things coming up.
You've forgotten about my favorite fight, Modine and Wakey Wines, the people's main event.
Absolute pure entertainment. We've made them so look, it's so funny, like everyone criticizes everything, but we've made them 5 1-minute rounds. Why did we do that? So you don't see two guys going and trying to that even though you will see that probably by the end, okay? You will see that. But at least for the first couple of rounds, you're gonna see mad action and more of a chance of a knockout. They're going to say, I don't have to conserve my energy strategically for 3 minutes in a row. I'm going to go out there and put my heart on my sleeve, but wear it all on my shield and just bang. And that's entertainment. That's why that's gonna be the best formula for fights like that. Not all of them on a case by case basis, but we're assuming that the fitness levels are not at the highest. So we want to actually get the best performance out of them. And I can't wait. I think it's going to be a great night.
Certainly, I can't wait for Misfits on DAZN. Mams, thank you very much.
Fredericks, what are we going to do about your bowl cut?
What haircut should I get then?
Spike it up a little. Maybe like, you know, a
What
little
haircut?
spike.
What haircut have you got right now?
Well, my haircut, I don't have too many options for my haircuts. My hair only grows on 70% of my head. And
Right.
unfortunately, the 30% would require a visit to Turkey, which I just don't care enough to do. So I'll continue wearing my cowboy hats.
Hmm. Fair enough. I'll buy a cowboy hat too, and then
Well,
you'll
you look like you've worn a pot. You boiled some eggs and then you put it on your head and cut around it.
Well, I'm allergic to eggs, so clearly that's false.
That is false, but I do respect your dedication to the LGBTQ community to look like a lesbian for a while. I think that's very woke of you, and we respect it, Fredericks.
I know. Woke. My favorite word, blimey. All right, well, my mams, thank you very much.